bless you, and welcome back to Heart Ministry Network and the Extraordinary People broadcast. I am your host, Brenda Divers, and I know you're saying she is not going to introduce you as a guest when we know that you're family. But this is Coach Darlene, and Coach Darlene has so many facets of her life. You know, they say, when you get older, you should be like winding down. They tell us that, but you're just revving up. You are just revving up. So, Coach Darlene, just say good afternoon to our viewers.
Good afternoon, viewers. God bless you.
Amen, amen. And again, we know Coach Darlene is a family member, but she is doing some new things. God is doing some new things in her. And it's exciting. And again, I always love it to see what God is doing, to be, to see the person and the things that are happening. For me, it's so exciting. So first we're going to talk about, again, my favorite question is always, what was your conversion experience and how you came to know the Lord? If you don't mind sharing that just one more time, Coach Darlene.
No, I'm always anxious to share my testimony.
Amen.
Because my testimony, my son led me to Christ. And it's a wonderful testimony to have because many people are looking, many young people are looking to, they've gotten saved and they want to know, how can I get my mom saved? I want her to be with me on this journey. So my son, S. Ty Townsend, Bishop S. Ty Townsend, Dr. S. Ty Townsend. Yeah. he has a lot of new names also.
Amen.
He introduced me to the Lord, and not only did he introduce me, but he followed, he insisted that I join the church he was at, and which I was visiting anyway, and he and Pastor Reed from the Sharon Baptist Church were my first teachers. They helped me to grow in the Lord, and at the point that I was 40 years old, he was grown. I was 40 years old when I came to Christ. I know I look 40 now. But.
Yes, and that's for sure. That's for sure. I'm glad you said that, But that, I think being in the Lord and walking in the thing he calls you to do, it doesn't wear on you.
Amen.
You could very, very easily be 40, just based on how you look. And God is he's a keeper.
Yes, he is.
Through all, because we know you were on, not too long ago, we were talking about your book.
Right.
Me and my girls. And I was talking to somebody about that, and it was gentlemen in the room. They're like, girls, what are, I said, I'm not even going to go through that. But that's always a conversation that you have to explain, right? When there's, opposite, when there are men in the room.
Yes.
But she talked about the book and how it came to be. And for me, it was a beautiful story. So thank you for sharing. But today we're going to talk about Coach Darlene.
Amen.
And before we even started, she dropped another bombshell on me. And she said, I do poetry. I was like, really? I didn't know you did poetry. But you're going to have a treat. Because Mom Darlene is going, before you go into the coaching and all of that, I believe that poem is going to be a segue for us. So she's going to share a bit of poetry. Some people get like all the gifts, right? She's got like all of the gifts. So if you would just share what God gave you in a poem. Thank you.
Well, I followed a couple poets. Nikki Giovanni's one of my favorites. And over time, I've written quite a few poems, but very seldom do I share them.
Okay.
But this one, I don't know, for some reason, the Lord just led me to prepare for it. And it's short. It's called A Courage to Love.
Wow.
It takes courage to love, to risk being hurt again and again. It requires trust in the one that you love, to admit to the vulnerability of love.
Wow.
Verbalizing those words, I love you, conveys hope for the promises of tomorrow, your future, offers meaning and purpose for events of today, your present, and gives opportunity for healing the hurts of yesterday, your past. If one might only find the courage to love, then one might begin to understand how to live, because living is loving. Amen.
Amen. I didn't know you were deep too. I didn't know she was that deep either. Okay, amen. There's a lot of substance.
Do you not know me?
That's right. I love that. I should have expected all of that. Amen. Amen.
Yes.
And for me again, to be in your presence and up under, she's always got a word. Always got a word of inspiration. She's always got something funny to say. I don't think she's a natural comedian. And, when God gives us humor, He gives us medicine, right? So that's probably, why you stay so youthful, because you're always taking in that daily dose of medicine that God talks about.
Amen.
So thank you for sharing that.
Amen.
So where did so we know we're an author.
Mm-hmm.
She's an elder, of course, and she has Women of the Bible. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But where did the coaching come in? What did God do with that?
Actually, it came from Women of the Bible.
Okay.
Because I do Women of the Bible, I teach Women of the Bible monthly. I used to do it weekly. I've been doing Women of the Bible for over 30 years.
Wow. Has it been that?
It's over 30 years.
Wow.
When I first got saved, that was the first thing I started doing, was Women of the Bible.
Okay.
And the Lord taught me, that I needed to help introduce women to the women He had given us as an example.
I love that.
See, He's given us women in the Bible
As our examples.
To if we do what they did,
Yeah.
we get what they got. The
Good, bad, and ugly.
bad, and the ugly.
Hey, and that's the truth. Isn't that the truth?
Yes, that is the truth.
Wow.
And it's so real when you read it. And as I was learning with it, I started with a small group, and we used to come together on Mondays and do Women of the Bible.
Okay.
And it really was me a coaching session. It was a Bible study, a coaching session, and I didn't think about it. But one day I was teaching Sunday school, and one of the students said, "Boy, your Sunday school is like a counseling session, a group counseling session." It's like, whoa!
Isn't that something?
Yes. So
Wow.
the thing is, the thing that made Darlene, a life coach, come alive is the pandemic. During the pandemic, a lot of people were stressed and worried and scared and lonely and you name it. And I found myself talking to people on the phone and praying with people. And then I started reading. I love books. I used to have a bookstore, right?
Yes. Yes, I remember that. Yes, you did.
So I would be praying with people, and they would tell me how sad and sorrowful and lonely they were. And I would tell them, surely there is someone who needs help, that you can help them, and that will solve your loneliness. And I started reading with people. I pulled out my books, yes. We read together. I pulled out books, and we would read them. I had 3 different people that we read each one of us read a different book together.
Over the phone.
Over the phone. Because we weren't going out. They were lonely. They were, home, tired of looking at TV. It started with me starting a Bible reading, a weekly Bible reading session.
Okay.
But we didn't get a lot of response from that. In the beginning it was gung-ho, but it drifted. So I said, well, let me find another book, because the Bible can get hard,
Right.
And so we started reading different books. If I'm reading a book, I call somebody and I'm talking to them. I tell them what book I'm reading, and a lot of times they get it, and then we read it. And I tell, well, if you get it, let's read it together.
Isn't that beautiful? It's just amazing to me how God starts things.
Yes.
Sometimes it's these things to give you a push, and then you find out how you've been impacted. Right, and then the other person is certainly impacted, and then they're telling someone, and they're reading with, So God, the way He starts things,
Yes.
And sometimes the things are so huge, but He starts them in an intimate way, right? That's why we can't despise those small beginnings, because really that's where the foundation of things are. And something as wonderful as calling and reading over the phone together.
Yeah.
That's almost an unheard of thing these days because of technology. Who reads together over the phone? I think that's beautiful.
And you know what? This is another poem that I like.
Okay.
That'll fit that situation.
Yes.
Is that life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away.
I love that.
Amen. And that's by unknown. But I just love that too, because that's what happens. That's how my bookstore started. I was a reader, and I would come into the church, and I always had a book. I always got a book with me.
Right.
And so
That's a passion.
or 3 or 4.
Yeah. Like, can I hold that for you, Mom?
So I would come into the
I love
church,
that.
and I would be reading, and someone would say, "Well, what are you reading?" And I'd tell them, and they said, "Well, I would like to read it." And I would go. At the time, I was a missionary, and the missionary had a bookstore.
Okay.
So I would go to the bookstore to missionary and buy the book for him and bring it back and give it to him.
That was a ministry.
And it grew, it grew, and it grew until one day I found myself in front of the
1,000
church.
books.
No, listen, in front of the church, I opened my trunk and people came and I was giving out books. And my
From
son,
your trunk.
my son was one of the pastors there. He said, "Mommy, you can't be selling me."
From your trunk.
So I went to the
Oh,
pastor
I love it.
and I
love
told
it.
him we needed a bookstore.
Yeah, that is so
I
good.
said, "We need a bookstore because," he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, this lady asked me for a book, and I told her, you know, I said, what do you want to read?" She said, "Whatever you get."
Okay.
And I looked at her and I said, "Is that what you say when you go in the bookstore too?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Oh no." So I went to the pastor and I told him that, and I told him we need to direct our
Yes, that
people
is
where to go
so
buy.
good.
And I
Whatever
started,
you're reading.
There you go, and that's how the bookstore at our church started.
And see, I never knew that story.
And
That's a
then-
beautiful story.
Wait, then, so the bookstore started, and then the mission agency I belonged to decided they no longer wanted to be a bookstore. They heard what I was doing at the church,
Okay.
and they called me and asked me, did I want to buy their bookstore? I asked my son, he said yes, so we bought it.
See, can you trace God's hand?
I'm telling you,
You know,
cannot.
you cannot. You cannot. I think it's just
Cannot.
being open
Yep,
to the things he says and knowing that it's God. Sometimes it does that whisper.
absolutely.
You know,
Yep.
who would know starting from, you know, somebody saying the book, you go buying a book and then having a whole trunk full of books, right?
I'm telling you.
To starting a store and then having someone who is going out of business and you know, again, that's God. You would know this is a God thing.
I'm telling you.
Absolutely a God thing. So again, don't just skip over things when you see them happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the most fabulous things that happened to me with the bookstore, and a lot of fabulous things happened
Yeah.
because we moved up 69th Street,
Okay.
across
Yes.
the street from
Yes.
Sears, and next door to Pizza Hut.
Okay.
You know, so we were doing the bookstore business. I moved out of the church and moved into
You need
the
a bigger
bookstore, right.
location, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I needed my own bookstore.
Okay.
So
Wow,
we went into
wow.
we went into the bookstore, and we started. I learned a lot about. Well, I had sat. These people didn't understand that what I was doing with all these books at the mission. I didn't have any money,
Okay.
so I would sit on the floor in their bookstore and read their books.
See, but not everybody can do that. Not everybody is Mom Darlene, so don't try to. Yeah.
But you could do it.
Don't
if
try
you,
this at home.
If you're a member of the bookstore,
Right.
if you have affiliation with the people. See, so
That is too
you know.
funny.
So that's how I started this whole
Go
thing.
and sitting on the
I
floor
sat
and
on the
reading their
floor and read
books.
their books, you know. And the same person that let me sit there and read and talk to me all the time and taught me a lot about bookstore is
So-
a person later that came to me and asked me, did I want to have the bookstore? Because they
Mama.
wanted to get rid of it. He didn't want it to just go anywhere.
And he trusted you.
Trusted me.
And again, this is just story after story. Really, though, just
is.
how awesome God is, and how He makes a way for us, even when we're not even thinking. Hey, our life has already been written,
That's so true.
right?
That is
So
so
we're just kind of going through it. God already knows it, and He knows what to put in place for us. So again, just to see
Yeah.
the different things that has happened to bring you to this path.
Because he said, follow me and I will make you fishers
Yes,
of
He
men,
did.
you know.
Follow me.
So I went and I followed him, and it took me to a trip to Africa. And when I got to Africa, they had a college, but the college did not have a bookstore. Now, so the college did not have a bookstore, and so I asked, well, the college was shut down at the time I was there.
Okay.
So I asked the question, why is this college shut down? And they told me one reason was it didn't have a bookstore. And they had a lot of other reasons. They had about 5 or 6 other reasons.
But one
And
of them was
the Lord spoke to me
Yeah.
and said, you can get them a bookstore. And I did.
I'm getting a headache. This is just so wonderful. God is, He's an amazing God.
He sends
isn't he?
people to you if he knows that you will do it.
Mm.
I didn't really know how to do that.
Say that again.
He sends people to you to help you if you don't know how to do what he has charged
Called you to do. He will put somebody there.
He will put them there. I'm telling you, I came back from Africa and I heard the Lord say that. I wasn't sure, you know, I kept saying, I don't know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, people started calling me, and I had never told anybody that I promised this.
Okay.
And people started
Wow.
calling me in Philadelphia. People started calling me, and my girlfriend would say, well, we got this pastor, and he wants to get rid of his books. Do you want them? So I said, yeah. So I started collecting books. And this one pastor called me up and said he wanted to get rid of his book wall of books, and would I come and get them? And I said, sure. So my girlfriend and I went over there. We're taking the books down, and we're talking to him. And he said, so what are you going to do with them? We said, we're going to send them to Liberia, because their college there doesn't have a book,
A bookstore.
a library.
The library, okay.
And we're going to send them there so that they can get their library, their college open.
Okay.
He said, but there are other reasons. I said, right, but this is my charge. See, that's what I learned.
Yeah. Stay in your lane.
There you go. God
That's
gave me.
good.
He only gave me one charge.
That's good. Stay
As
in
I'm
your
talking
lane.
to the man, guess what he says? He says to me, you know what? When that school opened, I went down there and calibrated that bookstore for them. I mean, that library for them.
Really?
So I'm going to send some other people to you. The library in New York City called me up and told me they were getting rid of all their encyclopedias. They heard that I was sending books to Liberia. Would I want them to send them? I said, yes, but how am I going to get them there? They said, don't worry. There's a truck, that's what they call it, a big truck leaving out of...
Like a trailer?
No, a truck, a boat.
Oh.
That's leaving out of New
Wow.
York on the way to Africa. We'll get
The
a
cargo.
we'll get a trailer, load those books on it, and we will take them there so that they get to Africa. Now that is unbelievable.
That's God.
I know.
And just to see him
Yes.
in that, you know it's God.
Yes,
Wow.
So, and I've always been a reader. I've always had a whole lot of books. Right now, my son is still trying to make me get rid of them. What do you do with books? We were
You
taught
read
not to
again.
get rid
You
of them,
read
though.
them again.
Right. No.
Which we don't, but that's the thing we say.
So,
Wow.
I've had a bookstore with thousands of books, and when I moved out of the bookstore, I took a lot of the books home with me. So I still have a bookstore.
Okay. In your home. Okay. But do you understand what we're doing here? Today we're talking about our God
Amen.
and how,
real.
again, we can't trace him. We just have to be obedient. We have to be able to be close enough
Amen.
to hear him.
Absolutely.
Because again, if you're far from him, you don't hear him.
Right.
And it's usually the whispers, the nudging, that you're going in the right direction. So we're just telling you about another God story. Mom Darlene is another God story. You just heard, okay, this led to that, this led to that. It's all God, right? And again, you have to be, I think he uses our personalities, right, to take us. And again, tenacious is one of the words, right? Anybody who knows Mom Darlene, tenacious. And that means you get things done and you press until they're done, right? And he uses you, again, in Africa to open the library and get the resources to them, right? So again, there's nothing boring about our lives, about the Christian life. Nothing boring about it. So after he did
Hard
all,
story to follow.
it is really a hard story. But one of the things I remember you talking about is just how we live the abundant life. You have lived the abundant life.
Absolutely, I have traveled overseas. I've been in Africa twice, Israel. you know, all the islands I've been to. I've really, and all of this happened after I became saved, which is 40 years old.
Wow.
You know,
That's good.
40 years old.
That's good.
I accepted Jesus Christ, and since then,
New
it's
life
been,
began.
Right. It's been wow. It's been
New
wow.
life began.
Yes.
Wow.
You know.
And that's the good and the bad, and he uses everything for his
Yes, he
glory,
does.
right?
Yes,
He
does.
says all things work together for the good, although we may not feel good about
That's right.
everything, but nothing falls to the ground.
Right. Your good is being
Yeah.
brought forward. You know.
Yeah.
And I really like that Jesus said. What he said to the fishermen, follow me and I will make you fishers of men.
Mhm.
And the question I always ask is, what's the difference in fishing for men and fishing for fish? You know, but the thing is, he spoke their language.
Yeah.
He appealed to what was important in their life. That's how he got them to follow
Yeah.
him. And
Yeah.
that's what happened with the bookstore. I was a missionary. Missions to the bookstore. You know,
Isn't that
I was,
good? That's good.
Right,
That's good.
you
That's
know?
good. Yeah. Yeah.
I was a full-time faith missionary.
Two books.
You
Two-
know,
yeah.
and that led to the books because they had a bookstore there, you know, and I'm the only person that was in that bookstore sitting on the floor reading the books.
And what?
I would go over there every day
And sit on the
and
floor.
read their books. Yeah. And you know, and once these people started, it's funny.
You can
I'll
sit on a
tell
chair.
you.
You don't have to
No, they didn't have any chairs in the bookstore. There were no chairs. They didn't
Oh, this
have
is
any
before
chairs.
the cafes.
Yes,
Before
this
okay,
was
the bars.
pure bookstore.
Wow.
You had to sit on the floor. Other than that, you're
stood up.
supposed to take your book
Right.
home.
But this
So-
is, and again,
Yeah.
we're doing this today because Coach, we call her Mom Darlene, but Coach Darlene, God is doing something new, right?
Yes, he is.
A new and wonderful thing. So we just wanted to kind of bring her before you one more time. I know you saw her a couple months ago and we talked about her book, Me and My Girls. But again,
Yeah.
my pleasure always is to be able to say, hey guys, something else is coming. God is doing something new and wonderful in one of our, sisters or brothers' life. And he is certainly doing something wonderful in Coach Darlene's life.
Yes, he is. I have. During the pandemic, besides reading with other people, I needed something to stimulate me. I need educational stimulation
Okay.
often, so I took
That's
I took this course on. Well, before that, I had become plant-based. I had moved into a plant-based eating habit because I had cancer,
Right,
which
we
is
talked
what
about-
Me and My Girls is about.
Yes,
The cancer
yes.
in both my breasts. And then after that, a couple years after that, I had my left knee replaced. So that kind of, I never had any problems. I was 70 years old when I had the cancer. So the knee
Wow.
replacement was a couple years later. So I'm like, okay, something's going on. I need
Okay.
to make some changes. So I made the changes and
Wow.
I became plant-based. And I went and I did cold turkey just one day. Someone introduced me to a video, Game Changers, and they introduced me to the video, and the person had a lot of goodies around, and they were like, well, after I saw the video, they said, well, do you want to take any of this? I said, because I'm plant-based now. That's how it happened, just
That
like
quickly.
that, just like that. And plant-based
Wow.
diet. It's been 2.5 years now, and
And you just went cold turkey.
I went cold turkey, which was quite an experience. I tell you, if you want to go plant-based, you need a coach.
Okay.
Right?
And that's what you had to learn, right?
I didn't know anything about
Wow.
doing that. You need a coach because there's a lot of things like when I go in the grocery store, I usually I can spend an hour in the grocery store, but when I come out, I have an hour's worth of groceries, a lot of bags.
Okay.
And one day after I got plant-based, my daughter dropped me off and she went her way and I'm in the grocery store and I came out an hour and a half later and I only had a little teeny bag with 2 cans of what did I have? String beans. 2 cans of string beans
In an hour and a half.
in an hour and a half. But you have to read all those signs if
Right.
you're going to be plant-based.
2 cans out of an hour.
Everything
Wow.
has eggs and milk and sugar in it. Everything. I
Isn't
could not
that
believe it.
interesting?
I could not
Wow.
believe it. So I had to learn not to go in the grocery store, to go on Amazon or somewhere and look and see what's in the ingredients
Before you go.
before I go, and then hope that the store has those ingredients, has those things, you know. So, but it took about a year
Wow.
for me. For a year, I got tired of eating cabbage and string beans, and you know, because I didn't know anything about. Now I know about Mediterranean dishes. I know
okay.
about seasonings. I know about, you know,
That's so good.
I know so much more about it. And on top of that, so after I went plant-based, the pandemic came, and so I went to school for, well, as I was doing the plant-based, a lot of people, my daughter-in-law announced it from church. She Pastor Townsend, Pastor Cleo.
Okay.
Because, you know, Pastor Cleo it's very clean.
Yes.
And for years, I had been eating every and anything.
Okay.
And then I moved in with them, and she kept telling me, don't be bringing all this stuff in my house. And I just kept on eating it anyway. So when I went plant-based on one day, she was blown away. She was like, I don't even believe this. For years, I've been trying to help her.
And you did.
All of a
We all
sudden,
take
there
the
she
time it
is,
takes.
right.
Is the time it takes. Yes.
So now I need to learn about this. So I took a course on health and wellness.
And you're certified. Right?
Well, I'm going to be.
Okay.
I'm working on my certification.
Wow.
So I will be certified as a health and wellness coach. But I decided to use it as a life coach because health is a part of your life.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and not that I don't want to be there, but there are other areas, you know, that I am proficient in that I definitely want to be talking about the
Yeah.
Lord. I definitely want to be talking about cancer.
Yes.
I definitely
Yes.
want to talk about women in the Bible. I definitely want to talk about missions and ministry, you know.
Nothing falls to the ground.
So
Nothing falls to the ground.
So that's how it came about for a life coach. And some of my sisters in school, they say to me, well, you have to put in there, Darlene, the health and wellness life coach. I said, life is about health and wellness. Without health and wellness, there is no
In
life.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
That's good. That's good.
So that's where the health and wellness comes from. And I have a lot of women in the Bible that I work with that are seeking it. A lot of people in my church, when I began to, in my church we have meals after church. And so, because now I'm
Plant-based.
I'm
What's that going to
plant-based,
look like? That's
so
going
I
to
can't
be,
eat those meals. So I had to ask this girl, she when I come in to eat, because it's fellowship time.
Okay.
Then she would make me different things, you know, from plant-based.
Okay.
And people would come up to me, well, what are you eating? That's not up there.
So she's a trendsetter too, okay, we say. That's so good.
So
That's
I
so
told them,
good.
you guys need to start preparing some plant-based foods. So these people, and then I started
And they enjoy it.
talking to people about going plant-based
Okay.
once a week. No, you don't have to go like I did. Go once a week.
Gradually.
Go one meal, you know, at a time.
Yeah,
You know,
that's good.
go just on Saturday, whatever. But you got to start making some changes in your health. So, as
That's
my
so
son
good.
says, I begin to evangelize plant-based.
And when you can't help it. You can't help it. That's funny.
With his friend of his, he says, "Don't talk to Mom Darlene because she'll talk you out of your chicken."
And that's what you're there for. Sorry. That's what we do.
So that's where Darlene, the life coach, came from.
That's good. That's good. And again, so we're doing all this because Coach Darlene is going to have a segment. She's going to be talking about a few things. And we just wanted to do a segue so you could be excited as we are as she presents. You know, she's going to be presenting from her book, from the life coach. She's going to be talking about women in the Bible. She's going to be doing maybe some poems in there. You know, so it's going to be a variety of things.
Amen.
But we just wanted to just get before you one more time and let you know, hold on to your seats. She's coming back and she's coming strong. And again, she does things a little differently, right? Because God gives us different personalities. And I think to the base of it, or the core, you're very sincere, you're very loving, and you're very caring.
Amen.
So all of that comes through. And you're going to get a joke or two. You're going to be laughing as a part of it because that's just a part of her personality. So look forward to it. It's coming really soon. Coach Darlene. And again, you won't know from week to week. It's so many different things, but it's going to be applicable to your life. It's going to be something that you can take away every week or every time she presents, and apply it, because these are steps that we want applied, right? We're not just talking, we want these applied.
We are talking. Can I read one more point?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I walked a mile with pleasure. She chattered all the way, but left me none the wiser for all she had to say. I walked a mile with sorrow, and never a word said she. But all the things I learned from her when sorrow walked with me. That is so, isn't that?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't
That is deep.
Because
Wow.
out of all of the things that I've done, it began with some level of somebody's sorrow. And it wasn't always mine,
Yeah.
but someone's sorrow, And
Ashes.
just sorrow
Beauty
doesn't
for
have to
ashes.
speak
Yeah.
to you, right? But,
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
just love that poem. That's another one that I love. It's just,
That's beautiful.
yes.
We do learn a lot out of the darkness.
Yes. We learn
Right.
everything out of the darkness.
Unfortunately, that's
Think about it when you come out your
That's
mother's
true.
womb, it's dark.
Mm.
It's dark in there.
It was like, I want to go back. We do
We do,
our greatest
yes.
lessons. I guess I wish we could learn them during the high times, but that's when they're more. I guess it just sticks more.
We remember.
We remember
It's
That memory,
memorable.
that muscle,
Right,
muscle memory.
because,
Yeah,
the things that I don't want to repeat,
that's what
I have. It's intentional now.
Yeah,
It's intentional. But some of the stuff that was pleasurable,
Then think about it. It
right,
just happened.
right, it
Yeah,
happened. But, we want to prevent those things.
And what was the last line about sorrow?
But oh, the things I learned from her when sorrow walked with me.
Wow,
And that's another unknown poet. I keep finding these unknown poets.
that's
But
beautiful.
Yes,
When
it
sorrow
is.
walked
Isn't that
with you.
beautiful?
Wow.
And that's where me and my girls came from. My sorrow.
Yeah.
And out of writing the book, God
The beauty.
eased me, brought me up out of it.
Beauty for
That's
ashes.
where
Yep.
the bookstore came from. I was. So my salvation came to Women of the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bookstore. You see what I'm saying?
I
Each
do,
one of
absolutely.
them came from some ashes.
Yeah.
Somebody's ashes.
And again, we don't have to stay, right? He does raise us up.
Definitely do not
He does
want to
raise us
stay.
up,
Yes,
you know,
we do
and
not want
to
stay
give him
there.
glory and to be a witness.
That's
you know,
right.
to be a
That's
witness.
right.
So that's our time. How can we reach you, Mom? Mom Darlene, Coach, Coach Darlene.
Well, you can reach me at, I'm going to use DEHCEH@gmail.com.
Okay,
For
and it'll be
now.
down on the screen for you. Okay.
So that's what we're going to be using, and you can contact me there. I also have a website called Women of the Bible on Facebook, and my website will be up for Darlene, the life coach, soon. But on Women of the Bible, you'll be able to sign up. We do monthly Bible. We've been doing it on Zoom over the pandemic,
Okay.
and it's so exciting. We got people from all over the world.
Isn't that something?
We got some people from Canada. I was like,
Isn't that wonderful?
whoa.
Isn't that
Yeah,
wonderful?
yeah,
All
yeah.
over the world.
Yep.
This is what it's opened up,
And
right?
because on Zoom, it's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been doing Women of the Bible for a lot of years, and I usually do it. I used to do breakfast.
Right,
Remember, I used to do breakfast, and that's expensive.
Yeah.
And then you got to sell the tickets. So
That's
that was
so, like,
hard.
yeah.
So then I moved to this other smaller hotel, and we just bring our own stuff, and that
Okay.
way we don't. There's no tickets. You don't have
Okay.
to sell any tickets. And then now, but you still had to bring some food or some
And prepare,
water,
sure.
and prepare and be
Right.
there. Get up to get there. But now on Zoom, whoa, girl,
That's kind of roll up
comb your hair, put a nice top on, some lipstick, smile.
and hit
You're
the
right
link.
there. Yes, I
Yeah.
love it. I really
It's
love it.
it's been a blessing.
It has
Again,
been
people who
a
hadn't gone to
blessing.
church
Yes.
have gone, or sitting in a Bible study
Yes,
and that kind of thing. It's
absolutely.
been a beautiful thing.
That is
It's
so true.
how to reach the world, right?
That's right.
The masses
That's
for
That's
the
right.
kingdom. So again, look for Coach Darlene and all of the things that she's going to be bringing. I'm excited. I'm so excited, so excited. And just you're going to glean. There's going to be something that you're going to take from all of these lessons and all of the segments that she's going to do. So pray for her as we go, and that God will continue to strengthen you and to continue to just work miracles. As he's doing so many. You could just talk all day to Coach Darlene. There's so many wonderful stories of what God has done in her life. So again, join us often here at Heart Ministry Network and Extraordinary People. Again, Coach Darlene is coming. Get ready. She is coming. And she's coming with wonderful information that will benefit your life. God bless you. We'll talk to you real soon.
God bless you.